Hi, I'm Maria Theoharis-Lavello on social media. Thanks for watching or listening to Sew Over 50 podcast on Sew Organised Style. Today's guest is Inge de Groot, and she's done some research about custom dress forms, and that's why she's here. So grab a cuppa and relax with us. It's so good to see you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good morning. Good evening. Good evening. It's here in the morning. Where you are, it's in the evening.
Correct. Yep. Inge, can you tell our viewers and our listeners where you're from?
Yes, I'm Inge de Groot from the Netherlands. It's in Europe. It's a small country in Europe. I think together with the Swedes, we are the tallest people on the planet. So that's also one of the things that we're going to talk about. I live in Alkmaar in the city center. It's kind of nearby the sea, but not quite. I have a picture of the sea here, but that's not from here. That's somewhere tropical. But I love the colors.
Okay. No, it's a beautiful color for you.
Thank you.
And so for our viewers, we didn't coordinate what we're wearing, but we just happened to be on the same thought process. Yeah.
Yeah, I love your print. I love your top, but mine is actually the first one I made on the dress form we're going to talk about. So I thought it was appropriate for the occasion that I wear this top.
Okay, thank you.
And it's made from from children's bedding. It was my first mock-up.
I love it.
It's actually inspired by a brand in the Australia Zimmerman.
Really?
The beautiful dresses. Yeah, they're designer sisters, and I copied their sleeves.
Nice. Well, you didn't copy the sleeves. You looked at their sleeves, got inspired, and created your own sleeve. Yeah? Nice.
Exactly.
So, Inge, you contacted me because you've developed a website and it's got a lot of resources for people who are looking to have a custom form. I read it and there's a lot of different resources there, and I thought, how does someone use this information? So if you can take us back to the start of why you did this.
As I said, I live in the Netherlands and we don't really have a kind of a big sewing community. So if you want to buy anything sewing related, it's not always available. I was kind of getting back to my sewing for myself, and I thought, well, I need a dress form. But before that, I tried loads of different things to get to a dress form for myself. Yeah. As I am a tall, custom dress forms that are available are not in my size. I got on the internet and I did all those things that many people do. I wrapped myself with tin foil. I wrapped myself with cling foil. I almost did the duct tape things.
Oh, yeah.
And then I also bought the bootstrap fashion pattern. Slopers, yes.
Yeah.
But then I laid it on the paper, but the shape and the posture was not in it. My shape and posture is just not in it. I have kind of an apple shape, and I have kind of a tilted waist.
Yeah.
And I've kind of a bee belly. And I have it runs in our family.
A curve.
Yeah. It's kind of a forward curve. And that was all not in the pattern. And then I found for the bootstrap dress form, I found an instructable PDF from someone Scandinavian to adjust it a bit, but it was still not working. And then we were on a little holiday, my husband and I was, thinking about this problem, and he's an engineer, and the company where he works, they print a lot of 3D cases for electronics that they build. So I asked him, I said, what is the photograph you take of a 3D thing that you can then adjust into a technical drawing software?
Oh, okay. So into CAD.
CAD, yes.
CAD?
We call it CAD. And then he said, well, you have to have an STL drawing to adjust things. And then I thought, I just need the STL, but I don't want it printed. I want it in polystyrene
Hmm.
because that's where you can put in the pins. So that was kind of the really little start of the whole idea. It took about half a year to get everything done. And then first I asked my mom because she has a really expensive tablet. So we installed a 3D uh, picture taking app on her tablet. My torso is quite big, so it
As in tall?
no, but also wide.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Wide. Yeah, that's fine.
if you use the app for a little sculpture to make a 360 photograph, it's okay. But my torso is not. It couldn't be photographed by the app.
Okay.
So I thought, oh, I really need a professional scanner or someone who has one
Right.
uh, to get there. And then I thought I heard a story that pregnant women
Yeah.
make a 3D scan of themselves as a kind of a pregnancy statue, and
Right.
then it's printed in 3D. And then I thought, well, those people, those companies have those equipments to make a 3D scan.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I looked up where there was such a company, and it was like a 10-minute bike ride from my house. Well, that's kind of the Netherlands because it's also small. And then I phoned them up. I said, can I get a scan? But you don't have to do anything about it. But can I be scanned in my underwear? And then I'll just take the scan with me on a USB stick and it's just all done. And they said to me, that was really nice because they thought with me as well. They said, we have a new employee coming in and she has to be trained on a body, but she already practiced on us. Can she also practice on you to get the hang of the 3D
Okay.
scanning?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, yeah, that's fine. And she said, then we get you a reduced invoice for the time that it takes. So I thought, oh, that's a good deal because then I
You
have,
got a discount.
yeah, I got a discount. Exactly. Yeah, that was so handy. So I went there and I was, well, in my underwear and they made the scan. And then I took it home and then my husband engineered it all together. Yeah, and then we actually had a STL file, but then I had to find a company that carves, CNC carves 3D
Styrofoam.
styrofoam. Yes.
Yep.
And I emailed a lot of companies, but most of them said we are doing things like rectangular things, but not really
Right.
the organic 360 carving. And then eventually I got in touch with a company on the east of the Netherlands, and they said, yeah, we do all sorts of for advertisement and for festivals and for theater, and yeah, we know all about that stuff. And then he said, well, you can think about how expensive you want to make it because the smaller the details, the more expensive it's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
because they have to use finer instruments to make the carvings. And then we just smoothed it out a bit. I still kept my little rolls because I want to have those rolls exactly on the place where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I want to wrap the fabric the most beautiful way around it. So we kept most of the
Good.
rolls.
Good. Good.
And actually, there is. I sent you a picture of a detail of a bra strap. Yeah, you
Yep.
can actually see the bra strap. Yeah,
I'll put
and
it.
yeah, so that's actually a fun detail that you can actually see the. But that's also then you know where your underwear is and where you
Yeah.
have to can draw the lines from your fabric. Yeah, that was quite a journey. It took about half a year together with all the emailing. A lot of has to do with the waiting for responses from companies that I emailed to get the answers to my questions.
Yeah.
But it was so fun for me that I could have a kind of local solution
Right.
for a thing that I thought, oh well, you have in America you have Ditto form, and in the UK you have Mimiquin.
Yep.
and also Beatrice forms. I think they're also in the US. And you could do that, but it's like the shipping cost is just so much money. So I thought, yeah, that's not really an option for me. So I just thought I'll split the project into phases,
Right.
and then for each phase I find a solution. And then I got so many questions about it, and I apped and emailed people who wanted to know about it. And then I thought, well, I might as well make a website out of it, so I can just get it into the world.
That makes more sense now to me because I did look at your website and all of the steps that you took are listed on there. And so I thought that was probably the aim is to share that information with people who are thinking about getting a dress form for themselves. And as you say on the website, you're not there to sell a dress form. You're there to show people what you have found.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, because people live in all different areas where some things are easily available, other things are not. You
Yep.
have to really look at for example, the shipping costs.
Yes.
Because if you are living in a place where it's easy to get, where there's a low tariff for shipping costs, but if it comes outside of the country, yeah,
Mm.
the prices go up, up, up. So yeah, that was also kind of an economical question for me. How can I solve my problem with economical and local cost and keeping it a bit down? Yeah.
Yep. Okay. That
So
makes that now makes more sense because you had a table of all the various costs for the various phases. So I'm really
but
glad that you
that's
explained it because I kept sitting there going, okay, this looks like what you had to pay. Where to from here? And really, it's your experience and you're documenting it.
exactly, yeah. It's just kind of an outline of the cost you can expect,
Right.
and I filled it in with my personal expenses.
Okay.
So as an example, yeah, if you find someone, like a graphic design student
Hmm.
who maybe you can just, yeah, not just, but you can pay for their services.
Yeah.
There are maybe less expensive. Yeah, because they're a
Yep.
student, maybe less expensive. Oh, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. But yeah, then to hire a company and a full-time professional, like, yeah.
Yep.
And that's also what's available in your community. Maybe you have a nearby community hall where there are courses, and you can ask someone in those courses to help you with that. The thing is the STL made, but also there are a lot of maker spaces
Mm.
where people take, with all kinds of equipment, 3D scans. So if you can manage to find those people in your area and then just make an appointment and they can help you with it, yeah, that's, and all those different, I try to put as many different ideas for that on the website,
Yeah.
where you can find those resources.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So when people go to your website, what it is you're providing, and it's so the website is customdressform.com. It's not about so your website isn't there to sell a custom dress
No.
form. It's to walk people through the process to
Yes.
find a dress form in their local area in inverted commas. Yep.
Yeah, it's the best way to find all the local resources from your actual physical location, because then the shipping costs are low, but also you have to travel to get to a 3D scanning area,
Right.
because that's not also on many places available. Yeah, you have to travel. If it wasn't nearby for me, maybe I had to travel on to the other side of the Netherlands.
Mm.
Yeah, I would get a train ride, and that's fine. But I wouldn't go take a plane to another country to make a 3D scan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actual domain name, the URL custom dress form. I thought when I wanted to make the website, this is already not available anymore because someone took it and it was just available.
So
I
you
thought,
bought it.
yeah, I bought it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I thought maybe someone also already picked it up, but nobody did, so I could just take it and put my work on instruction on that domain name. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So Inga, tell me about how you started sewing. Did you start sewing during COVID, or is it something that you learnt as a young girl?
Yeah, I kind of the genes are in my family on my mother's side,
Yeah.
but it skipped my mom.
Okay.
But my grandmother was a really avid sewer. She actually was on a course to become a dressmaker,
Hmm.
but she had to pull out, so for different reasons. But she learned. She taught me to sew little dolls' dresses.
Yes. Yes.
And then she taught me also on a black Singer hand sewing machine, and I made little dolls' clothes and furniture, and mainly for my Barbies because I didn't really play with my Barbie dolls, but I used them as dress forms to wrap them around in fabrics and beads, and yeah, I just want
Yeah.
to recreate the Barbie doll dresses. Yeah, so that's, and then during high school I was kind of a creative but not really sewing. And
Hmm.
then in university, yeah, it just got a bit on the back burner,
Yes.
is that a,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
um and then actually during COVID, yeah, it came back. Yeah, so that was really fun to
Sewing.
to get the fire back for. And I've always been interested in fabrics, fashion, historical clothing. We also went to exhibitions for just the refinement of historical clothing.
Hmm.
It was always an interest of me, but now I get to actually make my own, and that's really helpful because well, I don't know if you know from personal experience, but also in I come from a circle of friends who are all large women, and
Yep.
we all have issues with buying regular clothes in the
Yes.
shops.
Yeah.
um so yeah, that's kind of a thing. And if you go to a like a Spanish brand, that will never ever fit me.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
that's
it's just,
because because of the block that they use to
yes,
size their clothes.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes perfect
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I just need 20 centimeters of extra fabric and some extra darts, and that's it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to get to the point that I can wear nice clothes. Yeah,
Yeah. That you feel comfortable in.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, Inga, now that you know and have gone through the steps of getting a custom form created for you, if one of your friends was to say, Inga, where do I start? What would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
Well, first, get a notebook and a file on your computer because you're gonna get a lot of information from all different sources. So you really want to get that in order. Um,
Would they have to think about what their budget is? How much?
yeah, the budget, of course, but it can be so different for different people. The budget.
Mhm.
What really costs money is the STL file taken,
Right.
the 3D stamp taken. You need someone for that. You need the STF file adjusted to being a dress form file.
Yes.
And you have to pay the company, the styrofoam company, for the actual torso. So
Hmm.
that are three phases of cost that you can decide on per face if you want to pay for that.
Okay.
But it is true, as people change and their bodies change, if you are a person that fluctuates in weight, yeah, then I wouldn't go to the trouble of the 3D scan if you're not really interested in getting a styrofoam torso.
Yep.
But people have asked me that don't you worry that your body will change and that your dress form is not longer like optimal for the phase you're in? But I
Yep.
don't think so. It's maybe the my little rolls are getting bigger or less big, but my posture and my shape and my bone structure will still be
Yep.
the same.
Yep.
So the patterns that I've made on this dress form
Mm-hmm.
are really shaped for my bone structure
Yep.
and for the way it hangs on my shoulders.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
can I'll just add a couple of pieces there because they're, people's body shapes change. And I'm talking about women who go through pregnancy. So
right,
their body shape will change. And people that go through menopause,
right,
your body changes, and it changes and you don't realize it, even though and so I suppose those might be the sort of people who you would say to them, listen, figure out what you want to get out of the custom dress form and then decide which route you want to go down.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and also maybe if you're kind of you get into a new kind of sport, yeah,
Yes.
then yeah, yeah, your muscles need more fabric. Yeah, so yeah, that's also a body change, of course.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see because I made mine this way,
Mm-hmm.
and I've used it now for 1.5 years, and it's still fine. But ask
Good.
me in 5 years. So yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also the technical resources might be bettered or different then that you can make another form of dress form. You can use another methods for the dress form.
Yep.
So that would also, yeah, it just keeps on evolving
Yep.
the methods of 3D.
And
Yeah.
fingers crossed for us who sew our own clothes. As the technology changes,
Right.
fingers crossed the costs will come down. And the materials
Um,
hopefully will be more sustainable because styrofoam
exactly.
is not yet. And you said that on your website.
Yeah, styrofoam is in itself not sustainable.
No.
But if I'm gonna use this for 5 years and buy way less clothing, ill-fitted clothing
Hmm.
from shops that are not sustainable, then for me that's the effort I put in. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, great. Any final words before we finish?
Um, well, yes, there is a funny story about the. I would love to tell it
Okay.
because I know that I have a big torso. So when the scan was made, I thought, oh yeah, well that's fine. And then I pulled the styrofoam torso out of the box when it got delivered, and I thought, ooh, this is this is quite bigger than I thought. And then I
Mm-hmm.
thought, yeah, well, this is just because you see yourself in the third person.
Yeah.
It's so different. It's you recognize yourself, but also not.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just hugged my dress form. I took her out of it. I hugged her and I said, "Oh, we're gonna make beautiful things together." That was such a yeah. It was really a fun moment. Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
It's good. Oh, look, that's a lovely story. Inga, thank you for coming onto the podcast and
You're
giving us,
welcome.
look, it's lovely that you contacted me because you put this information out on your website that so that now anybody can access it if they're thinking of getting a
Yeah,
dress form.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I can imagine that with all the beautiful theater productions and also festivals in Australia, there will be a lot of companies that actually can make those styrofoam figures well,
Mm.
because they are so experienced with all those festivals and props and theater
Mm.
decor and yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So I think you can find great companies in Australia to get those done. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah, that'd be
yeah,
an interesting journey to go through. Very interesting.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Inga, thank you for your time and thank you for being on
Thank
Sabbath
you.
50's podcast on Soul Organized Style.
Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me tell my story and share it with the world, because it's as I said, it's not a business, but I just want to get the information so people can use it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
This episode of Soul Organized Style podcast for Server 50 was video and audio produced by me, Maria Thea Harris, in my sewing room with permission of Inga. Sound by bensound.com. If you'd like to support the production of Soul Organized Style podcast, pop over to our Patreon account. Make sure you direct message Sandy on Server50 on Instagram to support their challenges and posts. Go back through the podcast archive to hear and see from people in the sewing community. There are over 450 episodes to listen to now. I look forward to being with you in your sewing room next time. Stay safe, everyone.